Welcome to episode 131 of the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business. I'm Brian Fisher. Are you a business owner or executive searching for practical strategies to grow your company? This podcast series focuses on the various subjects and topics to help you run a successful, profitable business and is targeted to business owners and C-suite executives, but anyone interested in business can benefit. It reflects my 34 years as a business owner and subsequent years as a business mentor and consultant. They're approximately 15 minutes long, so you can listen while commuting. In the previous episode, 130, our guest was Forrest Durr, discussing the $1 million leak. Today's episode discusses success without fulfillment with Pete Sacco. Based out of Oakland, New Jersey, Pete Sacco is the founder of PeteSacco.com, a company that helps purpose-driven professionals unlock clarity, vitality, and purpose. Let's welcome Pete Sacco. Pete, welcome to the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here, so thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Pete. Pete, I'm always interested in people's stories. What's your background in becoming the founder of PeteSacco.com, a company that helps purpose-driven professionals unlock clarity, vitality, and purpose?
You know, Brian, it's a long sorted story, so I'll actually keep it as brief as possible. But my background was first in studying physics, quantum physics, right? Then it led to engineering. Engineering led to the defense industry, where I designed power supplies for weapon systems during the first two Gulf Wars. Ultimately, that led to the data center industry. And so today, my primary thing that I do is I'm the owner of PTS Data Center Solutions, the founder. We're a 30-year veterans of designing and building data centers. And you might have heard AI is a thing. And so we're pretty busy in that industry today working, and we design and build data centers for other people, predominantly the US government, large commercial enterprise, people like Pfizer, and the data center operators themselves. And so from there, I became a perennial entrepreneur, with a credit to my dad and my ex-father-in-law, who both were entrepreneurs of themselves. And so I think I was destined for it. So add to that, I've done a lot of venture capital work right now, especially in the AI world. But really where the PeteSacco.com is coming from was that we just talked about it a few minutes ago, Brian. We all have a bottom. And that bottom for me was, how could I have all the success business-wise but felt unfulfilled? And so the book that you see over my shoulder there, Living in Bliss, Achieve a Balanced Existence of Body, Mind, and Spirit, became really my own cathartic tale of going from an overweight, unhappily married person, but yet had some business success and had some good things going on in my life, but I needed to make changes. And so the book is really about the changes that I did in basically building a balance between body, mind, and spirit. I like to say that living in bliss equals body vitality plus mind clarity plus spiritual purpose. And so that's what really led to what today I'm building is the personal brand around Pete Sacco and helping, I believe in having a massively transformative purpose in life. And mine is to live awakened, championed decentralization in the technical world and the AI world, and then cultivate transformation, personal or otherwise.
Pete, that leads right into this episode's topic, success without fulfillment. Why are entrepreneurs and professionals searching for inner peace?
I think what it comes down to is this. The older the generation, the older we get, we lived by the experiences wrought by us, our parents and our grandparents. And, their philosophy was one of live to work. And, sometimes it didn't matter whether you were doing the thing that fed your soul or that maybe you were necessarily good at. I know a real turning point for me was when I hit my bottom. And thank God my bottom wasn't too bottom compared to a lot of people, but it was my bottom. And, I woke up one day and I was unhappily married and 360 pounds and estranged from my son. And I went to a doctor because I didn't feel good. I mean, just literally, I had a cough or something like that. But the doctor unexpectedly slid a whole bunch of medication across the table. And she says, "Congratulations, Peter, you've joined the ranks of the unhealthy." And she goes, "Keep it up, and you're not going to live to see your grandfather's age, right?" And so it was at that point I took stock in my life, and I realized I needed to make changes, because what I realized is I was the architect of everything good in my life and everything bad in my life. And then if I made better decisions along the way, how do I do that? And so I started with a framework of commit, learn, and do. I committed that I was going to make changes in my life. I was going to get healthy, and I was going to get divorced and get remarried and raise children in my own image and build a relationship with my son and figure out what is fulfillment, what is happiness, and how do I pursue it? Well, the book really is about that tale, about first fixing my body and then fixing my mind, which I wasn't even sure was possible. But indeed, we're blessed with a physiology that we're not beholden to our DNA, and we're not beholden to the subconscious thoughts in our mind. We can reprogram ourselves. And then, much to my happiness, I discovered spirituality along the way. And I love Dan Buettner's definition of spirituality: a belief in something far greater than ourselves. And so I think by nature, we were grown to commit to doing something, whether it was good for us or not. And the beauty is we can make the decision that we are not beholden to anything, that we are not just our mind body, we are not its thoughts, we are not our things. We can actually overcome all of those things.
We're speaking with Pete Sacco, founder of PeteSacco.com, a company that helps purpose-driven professionals unlock clarity, vitality, and purpose. Pete Sacco is a visionary entrepreneur, technologist, and modern-day mystic who blends conscious leadership with breakthrough innovation. As the founder of multiple ventures, Pete has led transformative initiatives across AI, energy, blockchain, and digital infrastructure. His journey from electrical engineer to spiritual author and advisor reflects a rare fusion of high performance and inner awakening. Pete is the author of Living in Bliss, Achieve a Balanced Existence of Body, Mind, and Spirit, a guide for high achievers seeking fulfillment beyond success. Now let's get back to the questions. Pete, at some point we all face burnout. How can we turn burnout into breakthrough?
Good question. For me, one of the things that I advise people all the time is figure out what your superpowers are. We all have superpowers. The thing that was imbued in us, that it comes easy to us. It gives us great joy when we do it. It comes natural to us. We don't necessarily have to practice it. And I'm surprised oftentimes when I talk to people of what are you good at, they sometimes have a tough time answering, to which I usually direct them and say, look, go back and look at the days of your youth. Come up with the stories that you remember. The stories that you remember are the stories that were most emotionally impacting to you because they gave you the greatest level of fulfillment. And if you really search to the meaning of those stories, what you're going to find is there's certain things that you're really good at. And then you have to build a life of just doing those things. I like to tell people, if you're a great dancer, then dance. Dance every day. But if you're not a good singer, stop learning how to sing, right? Just dance. That's what you're good at. It's funny, years later, or actually at the same time, the strategic coach, Dan Sullivan, he wrote the book, Who Not How. And it's kind of along the same lines, basically saying, look, if you have to do a task and you're not created to do that task well, then find another who. So I think the first one is figure out what you're really good at. When I discovered my superpowers, when I discovered that I had the gift to motivate people through storytelling, I am a perpetual learner. I am a person who, when I need to focus, I can muster great levels of focus and concentration. I have the ability to facilitate, to make the complex easy, which comes back from my quantum physics days and understanding the nature of the world. And then finally, to be a visionary. Well, look at my life today, Brian. I'm a CEO. And I'm a dad, I'm happy to say, of those three beautiful girls over my shoulder at the ripe old age, the mature look of 58. I have three daughters, 7, 5, and 3. Yes, I have a 37-year-old son and 12, 9, and 2-year-old grandchildren as well. I'm that guy. But think about it. I am a visionary for where they are. I'm a visionary for my businesses. So I give myself the gift of thinking about what the future holds. I'm an avid meditator. I give myself the gift of concentration every day. I'm a facilitator. I make things easy for my loved ones. Well, I got three little girls that are looking for a very complex world, and I get to simplify the world for them every single day. So, that being said, I find ways to build happiness in my life and fulfillment in my life by doing the things that I'm really good at. It's funny, there's a guy by the name of Jonathan Haidt who wrote a book. I think he's a Harvard psychologist, and he wrote a book called The Happiness Hypothesis. And in his book, he gives an equation for happiness. He says happiness is equal to our set point for happiness plus our conditions that we find ourselves, plus the voluntary acts that we do every day. And he and I both mentioned, I think those voluntary acts have to be in line with that which we are primally good at. If we're good at it, it gives us happiness. I'd add two more things to the equation on top of his. I think we need to also give ourselves moments of awe. We shouldn't be waiting for moments of awe and wonder to find us, right? Sitting and seeing a sunset, watching a baby being born. Figure out how to build more awe into your life, because awe feeds your soul and makes you alive. And then lastly, we need to learn how to temper our own expectations. I know that was a hard one for me. I expected way too much of myself. I expected way too much that the world was going to cater to my way of thinking. And worse, I expected way too much of people, especially those I loved. If I can get rid of expectations, I don't have suffering. And so I think the answer was live life on your terms in terms of your superpowers, and you will create happiness.
Being in business, we get so wrapped up in the numbers and KPIs. Why is our personal transformation the new competitive edge?
I think it's part of a bigger belief that I've come to believe right now is that there's really two aspects of us. There is the outward world. So in tandem with my strengths, I also created a set of core values. Who am I? And who's the person that I still want to become? And everything I do works me in those directions of that highway of my core values. My core values happen to be three: live with great presence, live with purpose, and live with prosperity. And I don't mean prosperity just wealth. I mean prosperity for all, to live selflessly and altruistically as best I can. And so the answer is in the dualness of us, part of us wants to accomplish and do things and live the mind body self in our outside world. But to have complete fulfillment and balance in our lives, we have to recognize that we are part of something far greater than ourselves, to which science is yet fully to explain, though I do believe it's going to be explained sooner rather than later. And I would say that that's not a striving. It's not something that we accomplish. It's something that we more remember. Something that we remember we are actually a part of something greater than ourselves. And the sooner that we can wrap the two worlds up and understand that there's two parts of us, the outward journey that wants to strive and the inward journey that remembers that we are part of a whole, the greater that results in a greater sense of fulfillment.
We're speaking with Pete Sacco, founder of PeteSacco.com. Pete, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, a great way. So thanks for that, Brian. I mean, finding me on PeteSacco.com. And today we live in a social world, right? So you'd be hard pressed once you go on the website. I'd be honored if people were interested in the book, Living in Bliss, Achieve a Balanced Existence of Body, Mind, and Spirit. You can find it on all places where books are sold. I did the audio, I'm proud to say. It was a real fun to do that. It's available on audible.com. There's a signed copy available if you want to buy it through the website. I'm working on a whole bunch of different things. I've got a whole TEDx talk series coming up right now that is waiting for dates, and a whole bunch of social media channels of all of us, Brian, that the usual, right? The Metas and the Instagrams and the LinkedIns. And so you get hard pressed to not find people in the world today. And so I make myself readily available.
Pete, thank you for joining us today on the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
It's been my honor. Thank you so much, Brian.
My sincere thanks to Pete Sacco for joining us today. Managing the performance and future direction of your company are two of the most important things you do as a leader. And I'm here to help you. If you'd like to reach out to me for business mentoring or consulting, help you with a podcast, schedule a speaking engagement, or potentially be a guest like Pete, please go to bcforg.com. There's a red Contact Us button in the middle of the homepage. These podcasts will be released the first and third Tuesday each month. This podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. In search, type BCF ORG. Be sure to leave a space between BCF and ORG. I'm looking for this podcast to move from upper mid-tier podcasts to a top-tier podcast. Please leave a positive review, let your friends and colleagues know about it, and don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow the podcast. In the next episode, 132, our guest will be Michael Barbarita, discussing leveraging the 80-20 rule. In business, running a successful, profitable business is the ultimate scorecard. You are never done and can always be better. It tends to be more fun than work, frustrating at times, but can be very rewarding. From BCF ORG Corp., I'm Brian Fisher, wishing you the best. Thanks.